Ladies and gentlemen, of the interwebs out there, Sebastian Envy Strong Style, Cinephile, one half of the reigning defending MPX Tag Team Champions. So Flash, let us geek about it for a scant few minutes this latest episode. And I actually did a video for the previous episode, but then I accidentally deleted it before it was finished uploading to YouTube. So always remember to check that stuff. I'll just have to do it again. Hopefully it doesn't take too long, but let's deal with the episode at hand, which was P.O.W, which had a couple good things going for it. Number one, Diggle. Diggle shows up to help out in the Godspeed War. Now, in the last episode, we see that there are I wouldn't say good Godspeeds and bad Godspeeds. They're just Godspeeds on either side of a conflict. Now, we don't know what the conflict is, but due to Diggle showing up and his helping to the cause and showing up with some convenient, plot-induced tech from off-screen Cisco with Argus, they managed to trap one of them and they get the 411 on kind of what they're fighting about. Apparently, one side is working for August Hart and trying to suck up speed and all that kind of stuff to give it to him in the future as the one true Godspeed. These are all just clones. And then the other side just want to live. I guess he sprouted them so they could do his bidding. They decided not to. So it kind of made me wonder, are we going back to the whole forces thing where it's like, they're like, oh, we didn't ask to be here, but now that we're here, we want to live. The Godspeed that they managed to capture wants Barry to help them kill August Hart. Barry's like, no, I'm not going to kill anybody, not even an enemy. That clone ends up escaping, but it leaves them with a little bit of intel. They learn they need to find August Hart. Now they do find a August Hart who's amnesiac and really afraid. They used some matter, sciencey gobbledygook to kind of give his memory a little boost. All he remembers is that he is August Hart, but after that, doesn't remember anything. And that's the gist of kind of like the main plot. Outside of that, you have Diggle dealing with, these pains and voices are calling to him, and the voices are telling him that world's away. Now we know this harkens back to the Arrow season series finale where Diggle got the ring. After years of being teased with the fact that Diggle could be the Green Lantern, could be related to the Green Lantern, could be the Green Lantern in the future. We get that kind of off, but not really. And it was said that before the season that Diggle was kind of bouncing around to a couple episodes in the Arrowverse, and it was going to kind of continue this story with him, this saga where he rejects the invitation that's in the box, which knows the ring. And apparently after this episode, after Neely gets him killed, and the people around him, they trying to help, he says, I gotta face it, which is why everybody's all sad about him leaving, because they're like, hey, help us in the Godspeed War. He's like, nope, I gotta do this. So it kind of makes me wonder because the next time, and the last time he shows up for this season anyway, it's gonna be on and Lois. So where's it gonna be in this? This is just gonna be another stop before we're gonna get T again. Are we gonna get any green on Superman and Lois? Because that is the bigger, better budgeted show. So are we gonna get a little bit more of a tease, some visual tease of, maybe at the end of the episode, the stinger, the tag at the end is like him, standing there and he takes out the ring and puts it on and it starts to glow green. Even that I'd be cool with, but give us something. Don't have him talk about it. Just give us some green something. But who knows what we'll get. Outside of that, this episode had a lot of stuff crammed into it, which kind of tended to be a little bit of an issue because outside the main plot and stuff with Diggle, we have Barry dealing with the fact that apparently Iris something's happening to her from the future that's making her kind of blink in and out of time or reality or whatever, where Dion Stillforce has to step in and take her to another timeline to make sure she doesn't just nothing bad happens to her. And this is the first time in a couple episodes that we've seen Candace Patton. Now we know Candace Patton's to see 8 of the Flash, but it kind of makes me wonder because, as I said in the last video, I didn't see from any trades or entertainment publications or social media accounts of people who follow the shows more closely or behind the scenes news or even rumors and BS clickbait that people like to throw out. Said that she was doing anything else, if she was actually pregnant or sick or COVID or maybe working on a pilot or something else, why she wasn't in these last few episodes. And even in this episode, she was only in there for literally a scene. So it kind of makes me wonder what's going on behind the scenes, because we know she signed on for season 8. So is there any reason for her not to be there? We know during, as things led up to Willa Holland, like kind of skating off of Arrow, she requested that she get a lower season count. So I'm wondering maybe if Candice Patton kind of, as she signed on to season 8, if she negotiated for less appearances for season 7 and in 8. Makes you wonder. So that's going on. Then you have Ultraviolet, who is fresh off getting killed by Caitlyn. She wants to go off and get revenge on and stop the black hole people. They're like the roaches from the black hole are starting to kind of come together and try to do some things, and she wants to go stop them before they can have a chance to hurt anybody else. Allegra's like, hey, you're barely, standing. You just got operated on. Just chill out. We got this thing going on, and then I'll come help you. Ultraviolet's like, no. Basically says that Allegra is like abandoning her. Didn't outright say, but that's the feeling she's trying to convey to Allegra, that she's abandoning her. Hey, I'm your family. You said we're family. Yada yada yada. But you don't want to do this myself. So she goes and does this herself. Allegra tracks her down. She apparently gets killed, and then she apparently gets like Thanos like snapped out of existence, which I like. They didn't have her just die. She Thanos like, it was a snapping. I don't know why they did it that way. I don't think it's. They said that she was like a vessel of energy that would do something like that when she expires. So why would they do it? Why are we using special effects money for that little bit of death that we don't need? But it's like, do we really care at this point? It makes me wonder what they're going to do with Allegra in the last 2 episodes and then in season 8, because I think this thing was rushed. It wasn't necessary to cram yet another thing that they could carry out and give some development to Allegra. I know a lot of people aren't feeling the storyline in general, but I think it had some potential to give us something different from a different. That's what I've been saying. You freshen up the cast, you can give us new adventures and new story possibilities and new roads we can go down. So there's more they could have done with Allegra. But, they didn't. It makes me wonder kind of what their plans are for season 8. That's why they crammed it into here. Also cramming Joe West and Kramer. We find out that they escaped the car, of course, and they're hunting Kramer's surrogate brother, who's apparently immortal, and apparently she's immortal too. And so he's basically a killer for hire, but he's like Robin Hood, because he kind of takes his money and gives it to the poor and people like them who need help, need a leg up, and stuff like that. So I don't mind that, but again, in this, there's just a lot. They're just trying to cram a lot in towards the end. That's the thing about these shows. It's like they meander through, and again, it could be like our falling victims episode count. I was reading something on the boards about how they were talking about, they were doing people were getting arc fatigue, like season-long arc fatigue. So that's one of the reasons why they were doing the whole graphic novel approach. We have something going on for the half the season, then we have something else going on for the other half of the season, which is cool. I like that approach. I think it's long overdue that they did it like that. So we're not having villains extended because of just stupid plot-induced stupidity, because we need them to last for 4 episodes or 5 episodes or whatever it is. So it's fine doing this graphic novel approach. Thing is, we're still making some of the same mistakes that they do even with those longer seasons, where it's like we have all the stuff that we're meandering around in the last 2 episodes. We need to cram it all in and get it over with. And I think that's what they're falling prey to with the Kramer storyline and with the Allegra Ultraviolet thing. I think, at least with the Allegra Ultraviolet thing, that could have been carried over to next season, and then you could give more time to Kramer and Joe, and it wouldn't feel as rushed as I think it feels. I could be wrong, but that's just my opinion on how they could have done things. It remains to be seen how things play out. End of the episode, we know the dude's Godspeed. We don't know why he is how he is in the context of the show. I'm not super well versed on the canon, the lore of Godspeed from the comics, so I honestly don't know how he came about, and I haven't read up on it to see how he came about. So we don't know what's going to happen with this August Heart in the present, if he's evil already and he just doesn't remember it, or maybe some Godspeed clone from the future going to come and kickstart him to whatever evil path he's supposed to go to. It remains to be seen. And then, of course, at the end of the episode, we had Nora pop up After Barry's been dreaming about her and dreaming about things bad happening for the last couple episodes, Nora shows up and says, hey, things are fine. I'm proof that things work out in the end. And then Bart shows up. So we know that, yes, comic book purists, we know that Barry and Iris's children are the Tornado Twins, and Excess and Impulse are kind of different in the comics, but this is what we're doing in the TV show. So now Bart, Impulse, is their son. So apparently they're siblings. Are they twins? Remains to be seen. But they are siblings. He shows up, and you can kind of see that Nora's kind of annoyed by him and his antics. So kind of, I'm interested to see their relationship and how it unfolds, as well as Barry's just reaction to the fact that, oh, Nora I knew about, but apparently I have a speedster son that I don't know about, and how that's gonna go. I wasn't digging the costume when I first saw the promotional shots of the dude that's playing Impulse, because it was just terrible. It was a terrible Photoshop job. I mean, not well versed in Photoshop myself, so I guess I can't really critique in that regard. But just from just a fan, you know, I'm looking at it. The promo pictures for Impulse sucked. But again, it's like one of those things where I've said oftentimes that you see a costume in a picture and it just, but you see it in motion in the episode, and it's kind of like, cool. Kamen Rider, Super Sentai, lots of times that's happened to me where I've seen the pictures before the season starts, like that costume sucks, that suit sucks, but then I see it on the show and I'm like, all right, cool, it works for me. So seeing it on the screen, it worked for me. So I'm anxious to kind of see what he brings with the energy. You know, he's bringing that sort of Impulse energy just in that like seconds that he was in there. So I'm cool with it. I want to see more of that. And also kind of see if they learn their lessons how to handle multiple speedsters. That was one of the things that really hampered them when they brought in Kid Flash, because they just did not know how to handle multiple speedsters. And even when they brought in Jesse Quick and Nora, when she came on, like, they just don't really know how to handle multiple speedsters. So I'm wondering if they've, again, like they've learned their lesson with the arc fatigue and carrying out a single villain over 20 some odd episodes, have they learned to deal with multiple speedsters? Remains to be seen. Anyway, it was all an okay episode. I mean, it gets major props for Diggle, because I love David Ramsey and just his progression as Diggle through all these years. And just, I want to see a satisfactory resolution to the whole Green Lantern tease that we've been getting all these years. Outside of that, things just felt kind of rushed, and just feeling that part of it. So they got 2 episodes left. It's a 2-parter with multiple speedsters. How will it shape up? Remains to be seen. What do you guys out there think? Let me know in the comments below. Follow me, social media. Talk to me there, here. Till next time, let us geek.